As Christmas, they called a tradition when my mom forced tequila down my throat. I collapsed behind the tree, blood on my lips, pretending to pass out while dialing 911. They laughed until the sirens came. My dad opened the door like nothing was wrong that night. I didn't just break the silence, I shattered their story. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. My parents called it building resilience. At age 10, Kyle and I were handed shot glasses and told to toast like adults. Kyle played along, grinning beside Dad. I held mine, hands shaking. Mom said I was soft. That night, I threw up alone. Kyle hugged me, whispering he'd cover for me next time. I saw fear in his eyes, not pride. That was the night I stopped believing this was love. At 13, I skipped training night to study. Mom found me in my room, ripped the textbook in half and dragged me to the kitchen. Education doesn't make you family, she snarled, pouring bourbon into a mug. Kyle watched, eyes hollow. He drank to protect me. That night he vomited blood. Dad clapped his back, saying he was becoming a man. I stared at the sink, fists clenched, vowing to escape someday. I returned for winter break, hoping things had changed. Instead, Mom greeted me with whiskey shots and a smirk. Don't embarrass us again. Kyle looked worse, gaunt. Trembling, he whispered, don't fight tonight. Dinner turned into a contest of who could drink fastest. I faked sips, slipped mine into the sink. Dad noticed, his voice dropped. You're not better than us. Jessica's voice in my head reminded me record everything. That night, I placed my phone in the chandelier. Kyle passed out mid-meal, face first into his plate. Dad laughed, calling him lightweight. I stood, furious, but Mom blocked my way. Sit down, he's fine. I stepped outside to call Jessica. She told me to check Kyle's arm for bruises. I did needle marks. When I confronted Mom, she slapped the phone out of my hand. You're ruining Christmas, she hissed. I retrieved the phone, still recording. Kyle groaned, his lips were blue. No one else noticed. The next morning, Kyle didn't come downstairs. I crept into his room, empty bottles, used needles, and a shaking mess of blankets. He blinked at me, barely conscious. They said I was strong, he mumbled. I texted Dr. Chen, code red. As I stepped out, Dad caught me. You snooping now? I said I was getting air. He chuckled. Air doesn't fix weak blood. I kept walking, heart racing. My fingers didn't stop texting Jessica updates. Dr. Chen called back. If Kyle isn't hospitalized today, he won't make it. I pretended I needed tampons to get Mom's car keys as I backed out. Dad ran outside, yelling I was overreacting. I screamed, he's dying. He slammed the hood with his fist. Traitor, he spat. I peeled out, tires shrieking. Kyle barely breathed when I found him on the porch. His lips cracked. Tell Alex I tried. I gripped his hand. Sobbing at the ear, I begged them to take Kyle immediately. The nurse hesitated until I pulled out my phone. This is a video of my parents forcing liquor on him. He's an addict. She grabbed a gurney. Dr. Chen medicine scrubs. He's septic. I collapsed into a chair. Jessica texted, your dad's posting that you kidnapped Kyle. I replied with a single word, proof. The chandelier recording was uploading to a private drive now. In the eco waiting room, Mom barged in, screaming, you poisoned him against us. I stood, I saved his life. Security hovered. Dad flashed a court paper, temporary guardianship. Dr. Chen intervened. He's not stable enough for legal shifts. Mom lunged, but Jessica stepped between us. You want the recordings public? I asked. Mom froze, her hand dropped. The officers took statements. Kyle, still unconscious, had IV snaking from both arms, but now he was safe. Officer Martinez pulled me aside. Do you have full custody documentation? I blinked. Kyle's girlfriend, Alex, she's his wife. Married in secret. Officer Martinez nodded. Get her here. I called Alex, voice shaking. She arrived within the hour, marriage license in hand. My parents exploded, claiming fraud. Alex calmly handed over medical proxy forms. I'm his legal next of kin. Silence dropped like a bomb. Officer Martinez nodded. They're done here. Mom started crying. No one moved. That night, I replayed the chandelier video. Kyle vomiting, Dad laughing, Mom forcing shots into his hand. My voice whispering, help him. I uploaded it to a secure drive and shared it with Officer Martinez. Jessica called. Reddit's blowing up. Someone leaked it. It wasn't me, but it didn't matter. The truth was viral. Hashtags trended. I stared at my shaking hands, realizing our family tradition just became national disgrace. Kyle stirred in his hospital bed. Dr. Chen entered. He's stable but barely. I clutched Kyle's hand. You hear that? We made it. Alex sat beside me, silent tears falling. He used to hide his pain, she said. But not anymore. The nurse wheeled in more fluids outside. Media vans gathered. Our family name Foster was trending. But I didn't care. Kyle opened his eyes, weak but alive. I whispered, they don't own us now. He blinked twice. That was our unspoken vow. A lawyer arrived the next morning, hired by Alex. He handed me a folder, restraining order filings, cease and desist letters for my parents. The video's admissible, he confirmed. My knees buckled with relief. Alex hugged me. He gets a real chance now. Officer Martinez escorted my parents out of the hospital. Mom screamed, you're killing the family. I didn't flinch. We're saving what's left of it. The elevator closed on her rage. I exhaled for the first time. Jessica brought coffee and a notebook. For the record, she winked. I opened it, hands trembling, and wrote December 28th. We stopped the cycle. Kyle smiled faintly when I read it aloud. Dr. Chen nodded. Approving. We start detox tomorrow. The nurse adjusted his monitors. I kissed his forehead one step at a time. Alex squeezed my shoulder. Outside, protesters waved signs. Some blamed us. Others called us heroes. I focused on Kyle's steady breathing. That was enough. 2 days later, KSBS arrived with court papers. My parents have filed emergency claims accusing me of coercion, drug abuse, even blackmail. I was stunned. They can't be serious. Officer Martinez read the order aloud. Temporary hold. Psych evaluation mandatory. Alex shouted, this is retaliation. I was handcuffed and let out. Kyle screaming my name. Jessica tried to film it, but they blocked her. In the squad car, I stared straight ahead. I wasn't crazy, but I looked it. The psychiatric hold was cold and colorless. A nurse took my shoelaces. I kept repeating, I saved my brother. No one responded. On day 2, Dr. Chen appeared during visiting hours. She handed the attending a flash drive. Surveillance from the hospital hallway. She was framed. The doctor's face shifted. I was released within the hour. Jessica met me outside with my phone. You're trending again, I nodded. Let them see what real resilience looks like. Back at the hospital, Kyle wept when he saw me. I thought they broke you. I hugged him tight. Not this time. Alex held up her phone. Reddit threads, news segments, survivor comments. You started something. Kespi has apologized in writing. Officer Martinez personally delivered the retraction. They wouldn't touch you again. Mom posted a public video, sobbing, claiming she was misunderstood. The comment section erupted with rage. I didn't reply. Silence this time was the loudest scream. Kyle's detox wasn't smooth. He screamed in the night, called out for dad, then begged for silence. I held his hand through it all. One morning he whispered, I almost didn't make it. Dr. Chen nodded from the doorway. He's choosing life. Alex and I painted the hospital windows with hopeful words: survivor, warrior, brother. Kids walking by smiled. Kyle started eating again. Each spoonful felt like defiance, each breath. Rebellion. The family that broke him wouldn't win. Jessica uncovered court documents. Mom had tried to seize Kyle's inheritance 2 days before his collapse. She planned this, I whispered. We handed everything to the lawyer. He filed a civil suit. News outlets started connecting the dots. Reddit sleuths unearthed years of similar abuse accusations against my parents. The cycle didn't start with us, it ended here. Alex wrapped her arm around Kyle. Let's tell our story. I opened the notebook. Chapter 1. This is survival. Kyle testified via video. He recounted family nights, the liquor, the pressure. They told me real men don't cry. The judge's eyes darkened. Our lawyer played the chandelier footage. Gasps filled the room. I sat beside Kyle, holding his hand. Mom refused to attend. Dad stared blankly as the judge set a trial date. Afterward, Kyle turned to me. I didn't think I'd ever say it, but I'm proud of us. I smiled. We're not done yet. 3 news networks requested interviews. We declined them all. Instead, we filmed our own raw, unedited, sitting on Kyle's hospital bed. This isn't revenge. I said, it's protection. Kyle added, for every kid told to drink pain away. The video hit 1 million views in 2 days. Jessica cried watching it. Dr. Chen shared it at a medical conference. Our inbox flooded with survivor messages. We didn't start a trend. We ignited a reckoning, and we weren't done. Kyle found an old photo album in his hospital bag. Mom had packed it. Inside were childhood photos, birthday parties, holidays, smiles that now looked strained. One photo caught my eye. Kyle at age 6, sipping from a wine glass. They started it early, he whispered. I scanned the image into our case file. Let them explain this. That night, I printed the photo, taped it above his bed, and wrote underneath, truth doesn't need permission to exist. Dad tried to contact Alex. 3 missed calls. A voicemail begging to talk like adults. She forwarded them to the lawyer. He's scared, she said. That night, a brick shattered the hospital lobby window. No note, just silence. Police reviewed footage in marked truck, tinted windows. We moved Kyle to a private room. Officer Martinez stationed a guard outside. They're desperate, she warned. I didn't sleep. I sat by Kyle's bed all night, watching shadows like they whispered threats. An anonymous email arrived. You'll regret what you've done. Attached was a distorted voice recording Dad ranting about disgraceful daughters. The lawyer traced the IP. It was spoofed, but likely local. Officer Martinez ordered protective custody for me and Kyle. Alex moved in with us. Jessica stayed on call. We're fortress mode, she joked. But I stopped laughing. That night, I dreamed of Kyle in chains. I woke up gasping, his hand in mine. Still here, he said. Court day arrived. Protesters lined the courthouse, half shouting for justice, half defending parental rights. I held Kyle's hand as reporters snapped photos inside. Dad's lawyer called us ungrateful children. Our lawyer played the chandelier video again. Gasped silence. The judge leaned forward. You call this parenting? Kyle testified last. His voice cracked, but he stood tall. They taught me how to drink, not how to love. The room froze. Our story wasn't just evidence, it was indictment. That night, Kyle handed me a crumpled letter. Dad had written it from jail. I raised you better than this. It read, family means loyalty. I tore it in half. Family means protection, I said. Alex nodded, tossing the pieces into the trash. He doesn't get the last word. We all signed the civil suit paperwork together. I signed twice, once for me, once for the kid I used to be, the one who stopped drinking to survive. Red herring. An anonymous tip accused Dr. Chen of faking Kyle's diagnosis. Hospital launched an internal review. We were gutted. They were trying to discredit her. Jessica snapped. Dr. Chen stayed calm. Truth survived scrutiny. 2 days later, the board cleared her evidence airtight. The anonymous tip traced back to a burner phone, linked to Dad's former colleague. They are flailing. Alex said still, it shook us. But Dr. Chen smiled. They tried to erase truth. We made it louder. I visited our childhood home alone. The windows were boarded. A mail piled on the porch. Inside, silence hung heavy. I found Kyle's old toy, his stuffed wolf, torn but intact. I took it. Upstairs, our training room still had bottles lining the shelf. I knocked them over, one by one, glass shattering. Outside, neighbors watched. I didn't care. I left a note on the door, cycle ends here, and walked away without looking back for good. Kyle's final court hearing, a judge ruled in our favor. Full restraining orders, parental rights revoked. The evidence is overwhelming, she said. Kyle squeezed my hand. I'm free, I nodded. Tears falling. Outside, a journalist asked what we'd say to other survivors. Kyle answered, voice steady, speak even if you shake. I added, you don't know anyone. Silence. We walked away as siblings, not victims, and for once, our last name didn't feel like a curse anymore. In the hospital garden, Kyle read letters from strangers. One wrote, your story stopped me from pouring another drink. Another, you gave me courage to confront my uncle. We sat on the bench, overwhelmed. This is bigger than us, Kyle said. I nodded, and still personal. Alex joined us, placing a small plaque in the soil. Healing grows here. Beneath it, we planted lavender, Mom's favorite. Not as a tribute, but as proof we own the future. We returned to the courthouse to finalize the name change. Kyle dropped Foster. I did too. New roots, he said. We became Hayden and Kyle. Monroe. Jessica's suggestion. It means from the mouth of the river, she smiled. A place to begin again. That night we celebrated with ginger ale and laughter. No toasts, just quiet joy. We weren't erasing history, we were rewriting it. And for the first time, our last names weren't inherited, they were chosen. I sat alone one evening, notebook in hand. I wrote, I lost tradition, but I found truth. Our family was never broken, it was designed that way. Kyle's recovery taught me more about resilience than any textbook. Jessica framed our viral video with the caption, "She chose survival." I hung it above my desk. Some nights, I still hear Mom's voice, but now, I answer with my own, "Not this time, not ever again." Kyle started volunteering at a recovery center. First day, he wore his court badge like armor. "I want to be what I needed," he told the director. I watched him lead group sessions, voice steady, eyes clear. This story didn't end with survival, it evolved into service. I updated my notebook, healing repeats, not haunts. The symbol of our pain became proof of our power, for every family trapped in tradition. We left a trail out. 2 years later, Kyle ran his first Vivic. I wore a lavender pin and held his finish line sign, "Stronger than blood." Mom and Dad now live 2 towns over, stripped of rights, reputation in ruins. Kyle, now a counselor, holds his daughter, Sophia, with both arms, never letting a drink near her. I teach workshops about generational trauma. At the end of each, I pass out lavender seeds, plant proof. I say, our story didn't just end, it bloomed, and it never starts again. Thanks for watching. Subscribe because I believe every story hides a truth, and sometimes just listening can change everything.